Could you bear being forgotten by everyone and still believe you're on the right path? Not for a day, not for a month, but for years. No answers, no explanations, just the sound of time passing slowly, as if every second were a silent test of your faith. What if the silence surrounding you wasn't punishment, but preparation? Imagine living in a land that isn't yours, serving people who don't know you, being accused of something you didn't do, being forgotten by those who promised to remember, and yet keeping your heart still, believing that, even unseen, a purpose is being built within you. Joseph lived exactly that, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, accused for upholding his integrity, and forgotten in a prison by someone he helped. But he didn't curse time, he didn't break hope, he stayed silent and waited, like one who knows the furnace doesn't destroy gold, it purifies it. Today, you'll discover the Stoic message behind Joseph's forgotten years, a message that transcends centuries and can change how you see your own waiting. Stay until the end of this video, because what you'll hear here isn't just a biblical story, it's a mirror, a map, a call to your own inner strength. And if you believe true wisdom has no expiration date, if you seek meaning in the chaos and value reflections that unite spirituality, philosophy, and mature silence, subscribe to this channel now. Here, every story is more than a tale. It's a whisper of the soul, a compass for those walking without a map but with purpose. It was a dark prison, cold as indifference, silent as those who watch others' pain and say nothing. There, time didn't pass, it dragged, scraping the walls with the slowness of one testing us to the limit. Joseph was there, not for theft, not for murder, but for saying no. He said no to Potiphar's wife's desire. He said no to easy pleasure, to silent betrayal, to momentary advantage. He said no to sin. And that no landed him in prison. Another man might have rebelled. Another might have screamed at the heavens, cursed the ground, sought revenge. But Joseph served. He served the other prisoners. He even served the jailers, not out of submission, but conviction, like one who understands greatness isn't measured by freedom, but by dignity in action. In that dark silence, Joseph kept a flame alive, a quiet faith, unseen, the faith that all of it had a purpose, even if he couldn't see it, even if no one confirmed it, even if heaven seemed mute. It was in this setting that two men arrived in the cell, two servants of Pharaoh, the cupbearer and the baker. Both carried dreams, but they didn't know their meaning. Joseph, with humility and firmness, listens, interprets, and delivers. No demands, no spectacle. Just fulfilling what was given to him. For one, the dream meant freedom, and before the man left the prison, Joseph looks into his eyes and asks just one thing: remember me. A simple request, human. From one who hoped, at last, the waiting would end. But the man forgot. He returned to the palace, resumed his life, and left Joseph behind. 2 years passed, 2 years of colorless walls, of footsteps echoing alone in hallways, of nights without answers and days without horizons. Silence, no letter, no sign, no new visitor. No open door. But Joseph didn't shout, he didn't beg, he didn't curse the forgetting. He continued, steady, silent, trusting something eyes couldn't see, but the heart still felt. There, in that forgotten prison, a man was being forged, not to survive, but to rule, not to seek revenge, but to save, not to prove anything, but to fulfill a purpose greater than himself. And perhaps, right now, you're in a similar prison. But this part of the journey, the darkest, the longest, the loneliest, is also where character is polished, the soul is tested, and destiny begins to reveal itself. In the silence, in the unseen, in the waiting, Joseph lived what Marcus Aurelius would call obedience to the natural order of things. He didn't fight reality. He didn't beg for life to be easier. He became stronger. He understood what many ignore. Sometimes, life's silence isn't the absence of an answer. It's an invitation to grow in depth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept good fortune without arrogance, and endure misfortune without complaint." Joseph didn't boast when promoted in Potiphar's house, nor did he despair when thrown into prison. Accepted each phase as part of the path, not with passive resignation, but with active strength, the kind that chooses to trust even when it doesn't understand. Joseph didn't try to control what was beyond his reach. He turned to what he could still govern. his actions. His service, his integrity, his posture in the waiting. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Joseph could have seen that prison as the end. He could have fed anger, resentment, disillusion, but he chose another perspective. He saw that cell as a workshop, a school, a fertile silence where the ego dies and the soul matures. There were no mirrors to admire himself, just walls, and on them, the reflection of his own interior. And Seneca, master of virtuous realism, adds, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Joseph was forgotten for 2 years. 2 years where, to the world's eyes, nothing happened. But inside, everything was being built. It would be easy to think God had abandoned him, but in truth, heaven was just waiting for the right time then. Pharaoh dreams, and no one can interpret until someone remembers. There's a Hebrew in the prison who knows how to hear dreams, and then everything changes. But notice, Joseph wasn't just in the right place, he was ready. That's the virtue of endurance, not the kind that closes itself in pride, as if enduring pain to prove something, but the kind that waits with serenity, with purpose. With the awareness that time isn't the enemy of those under construction. The Stoics didn't preach indifference, they taught presence. Presence in suffering, without victimhood; presence in waiting, without despair; presence in uncertainty, with steadiness of spirit. Joseph is perhaps one of the greatest examples of Stoicism in biblical tradition, not because he read philosophy, but because he lived philosophy with body and soul. He taught, through his own silence, that seasons of forgetting are also seasons of revelation. Not for the world, but for ourselves, and that's one of the greatest secrets of the mature soul. Waiting doesn't weaken us, it reveals us. What about you? Are you living in your own invisible prison? Maybe no one sees it. Maybe you even smile on the outside, but inside, there's a cell, a suffocating routine, a promise that never came, an answer that never arrived. How many times has life locked you in places you don't understand? You look at your job and wonder if you still belong there. You feel unseen, unheard, unappreciated, and yet, you keep going, out of responsibility, out of fear, out of hope. Or maybe it's a relationship, a bond that once felt alive but now feels like a play where you're the only one still acting. You've tried, you've forgiven, you've waited, but you still feel alone. Or maybe it's that waiting, that promise that seemed so certain, that project that felt blessed, but now it's stuck in time, frozen between almost and never again. And the cruelest part, maybe you did the right thing, maybe you chose truth, honesty, the clean path. And yet, you were set aside, forgotten, discredited. But what if this silence that troubles you today is actually your preparation? What if this season of invisibility is, in truth, the most important phase of your story? Joseph was shaped in prison, not in the palace. It was in obscurity that he learned to sustain his faith without applause. It was in solitude that he discovered his true calling. It was in confinement that he learned what no book could teach, the art of trusting when nothing makes sense. Maybe this prison you're in right now isn't punishment, but a workshop, a sacred place, where life is teaching you what you'll only understand later. Patience, clarity, faith in the unseen, the discipline to stand firm, even without an audience. Who betrayed you? And you still haven't forgiven. What pain do you keep carrying, even though it no longer serves you? You don't need immediate answers, you need roots, because when the right time comes, and it will come, you won't be caught off guard. You won't be a random survivor. You'll be someone prepared. Joseph's story isn't just about a man who went from prison to the throne. It's about someone who learned to trust the process, even when all seemed lost. And that is deeply Stoic. It's the wisdom of those who don't drown in chaos, but learn to breathe within it. It's easy to see Joseph's story as something distant, ancient, almost too symbolic for real life. But the truth is, we all go through invisible prisons, situations where effort goes unrecognized, where waiting feels like punishment, where the unseen weighs heavier than the concrete. And it's precisely in these seasons that many people give up on themselves. They stop investing in what they believe, they stop acting with integrity, they start doing what everyone else does, seeking shortcuts, quick rewards, only to lose themselves in the process. Joseph teaches us something rare and powerful. Don't live only for what you can see, live for what you're becoming, because there's something neither prison nor time, nor forgetfulness can take from you the strength of a silent purpose. Even when others don't see your value, even when the world forgets what you've done, the preparation continues, and when the right time comes, when the Pharaoh of your life dreams and needs someone ready, you'll realize the wait was worth it, because what was being prepared wasn't just the opportunity, it was you. So before you try to escape your prison, ask yourself, what do I still need to learn here? What part of me is being refined, sculpted, matured in this silence? That's the difference between passing through time and letting time pass through you and transform you. Joseph didn't ask for shortcuts. He accepted the silence, trusted the unseen, and prepared for what no one could see. But God had already written. And you? Will you keep avoiding the pain, or turn it into your foundation? If this story stirred something in you, a new perspective, a forgotten memory, a quiet faith, subscribe to this channel now. Here, every story is a mirror, a whisper for the weary soul, a reminder that waiting isn't wasted time. It's the shaping of who you're meant to be. See you in the next video, and until then, respect your time, trust the unseen, and keep going even in silence. The wise man does not choose the easiest path. He honors the one given to him. That's the difference between those who merely survive and those who mature. Joseph didn't ask for shortcuts. He didn't beg to leave prison. He didn't trade his integrity for favors. He accepted the silence as part of the purpose, and there, where others saw only forgetfulness, he built his strength, his clarity, his authority. He didn't lose himself in the waiting. He found himself in it, and maybe you're being called to the same, not to resist with anger, but to resist with awareness, because there's a kind of wisdom that doesn't come from books, nor from the words of others. It's born in silence, in time, and in the courageous choice to honor your own path. If this story touched something deep in you, if it awakened a memory, a sigh, an intimate recognition, consider following this channel. Here, every story isn't just told, it's felt. Here, the Bible meets philosophy, and philosophy meets the heart. Each video is a silent compass for those walking by faith, even when their eyes can't yet see the destination. See you in the next episode, and until then, respect your time and honor the path before you.